After 28 years of playing the Pokemon games, this is probably the title I'm least excited for, but I wasn't that way at first. This video will explain a few things. I've played Yellow, Silver, Crystal, Ruby, so on and so forth. I don't know, there's nothing super exciting about this game that's actually going to make me want to buy it anymore. It's not just the game either, it's the Switch 2 in comparison to the Switch 1. I don't have a Switch 2. There's a lack of them going around between a mix of not enough to meet demand and people stapling through screens. So, I don't have one. That's going to be an issue I'll discuss later in the video, but for now, let's just get into it. It isn't all bad. First we'll start with a very brief history of Pokemon, then Legend ZA's callbacks to other games that came before, then Legend ZA's benefits where I think the game has done well, then Legend ZA's downsides where I think the game has failed, and lastly, quality of life improvements. This is a bit of a misnomer, as we'll discuss features that should be in the game to benefit the player, aka you. If you haven't heard of Pokemon before, you've likely lived under a rock, and a boulder, and a mountain. That's okay, Rock Dweller, I'll try to fill you in. Pocket Monsters, or Pokemon for short, began as a video game on the Nintendo Game Boy in 1996, closely followed by the anime in 1997. Some of these Pokemon certainly looked monstrous, but others were designed to look cute instead. The show primarily focused on capturing Pokemon within Pokeballs, and people that used them were called trainers. During the capturing process, the Pokemon seemed to digitize into red laser-like light, and the same light was seen when you released the Pokemon. Friendship was formed between the captured and the capturer in most cases, and battles commenced against other trainers who also caught Pokemon. The first callback that I'll mention is the obvious Pokemon X and Y games from 2013. Lumiose City is in the center of the Kalos region that these games called home. Mega Pokemon were introduced in this game, as well as the Fairy typing and a number of new fan favorites like Sylveon, Aegislash, and Talonflame. Next is Pokken Tournament in 2015, a 1v1 fighting game that has dynamic camera views, laying traps, and even power-ups on the ground that you could collect to Mega Evolve. Sound familiar? After that game was Pokemon Unite, a MOBA, or multiplayer online battle arena, where you played as a single Pokemon without a trainer, and searched across the map to defeat other Pokemon and earn points. Each attack from each Pokemon varied in range, size, and damage, even with the same attack name being the same. For example, Flamethrower is much stronger from a legendary Pokemon, and therefore has longer attack range and more damage than a Flamethrower from a non-legendary Pokemon. And lastly, the never-forgotten Legends Arceus in 2022. This is the game that set the standard for Legends games and is definitely one of my favorites. This game introduced new catching mechanics, new regional forms for the starter Pokemon, attacks that could damage the trainer, and the ever-imposing Alpha Pokemon. As an added blessing, when you were near an elusive shiny Pokemon, a noise could be heard. Ah, music to my ears. Now let's start talking about the features that I do like about Legend ZA. From the start, the trailers had me hooked. They showed a digital zone panning into the heart of Lumiose, zooming back out into an overall look, and going over the key points. The starters this time, though oddly mixed between Generations 2 and 5, are an interesting choice for this re-exploration of Kalos. Just like the grandparents from 2013, Mega Pokemon are back, and they are in full force, returning with the originals and with new, never-before-seen Megas like Chestnut, Delphox, and Greninja, who were the starters in their original games. The ranking system is new, and that's a huge plus. This will be the progress lock for those who simply want to power level and challenge each gym without trying to rank up first. My assumption is that every 3 ranks will unlock the next gym, also assuming that there are 8 gyms in total. Wild zones are also new to Lumiose, with each area of the city having its own specific biome that suits the Pokemon found within. Nighttime changes the setting of ZA to more threatening, with trainers lurking around to challenge the player of the fights. Of course, sneaking is possible, but not always. Team-up battles have returned as well, seen here versus Mega Victreebel. In a video, Victreebel attacks the player but misses. It is still unknown what happens to the player when damaged, if anything. In Arceus, 3 hits to the player causes whiteout and a return to the nearest resting spot. The animations are fairly well done, with the catching mechanics similar to Legends Arceus, the battling similar to Pokken Tournament and Unite, with some small differences. At this point, I'd like to mention that I was at one point very willing to try and break down all of the attacks with their ranges and area of effects. I'll play some examples anyway, and leave the truly grinding hard work to someone else. Seen here, Protect is used by Charizard in hopes of successfully defending an attack from Lucario. In Pokken, Protect only faces towards the opponent. Speaking of Lucario, Aura Sphere is used here by Lucario versus a Brave Machoke. Note the straight line of the attack towards the opponent. Here are a number of attacks used in Unite, each with different area of effect markers and distances. Rock Slide was used by wild Pokemon in Arceus to attack the player from far away. In Legends ZA, I believe Quick Attack would have a very small window of invulnerability. It's time for the ugly. The price tag is fair at $60 for the Switch 1 and a slightly higher price of $70 for the Switch 2. However, they've already announced the downloadable content, expecting players to buy both the game and the DLC as soon as possible, which is $30 by itself. For those keeping track, that's $90 to $100 that's expected of us. No thanks. I mean, yes, I usually do buy the DLC anyway, but after I thoroughly enjoy the story and collect most of the Pokédex that I can. Remember those Megas from before? Well, they're locked behind something else that feels forced. Player versus player tournaments. That's right. In order to get their respective Megastones, you must compete in 3 different tournaments. There is no other way to get these stones. The DLC, in combination with these already unattainable stones, leads me to believe that the Megastones for the new forms of Raichu are exclusive to the DLC. As a warning, they most likely didn't stop there. The fact that we still have to collect all of the Megastones isn't a good thing to me. If you have a favorite Pokemon that you want to go Mega, and their stone isn't available until the end of the game, good luck to you. There are a number of Pokemon and NPCs that exist in X and Y that should also exist or have some mention in ZA. Without some proof of their existence, I'm led to believe that they each get a few lines of text in some random book. Zygarde is seen in a trailer for this game, but not Xerneas or Yveltal. Why were these legendary Pokemon not mentioned at all? In that same vein, the reason we obtained them was due to the cruelty of X and Y's evil groupies, Team Flare and their leader, Lysander. These NPCs are just as important, if not more so, than the Pokemon, and I would have preferred to see a glimpse of them before now. Oh, and Az or AZ is now less important? Very lame. Though, depending on the length of the time between X, Y, and ZA, I'm surprised he's still around. I haven't seen the confirmations as of yet, but shiny hunting could be difficult without that wonderful melodic sound. As a determined shiny hunter, just going by color alone was very stressful in Scarlet and Violet, making me use the zoom feature on the Switch just to see the most minute details. In another video, it shows that if you wait too long to catch a Pokemon, it runs away. Excuse me? If I find a shiny and it doesn't want to be caught after just a few Pokeball tosses, it runs from me? That's a huge no. It's one thing to mistakenly run from the shiny or accidentally causing KO in previous games. It's entirely something else to let it run from me. As a quick note, mounts or other ride Pokemon are most likely not available at all in this game. You won't need them to get from point A to point B within the city walls. In addition, I don't expect players to be able to breed Pokemon and hatch eggs. There is another forced mechanic in this game: 4-player free-for-all. While Unite is very popular amongst the masses, I haven't played it. MOBAs never really appealed to me. This style of battle showing up in Z8 is clearly telling us that we must play the game like a MOBA to fully enjoy the story. They promote the 4-player fights as something fun, and it could be. I see this being implemented later in the story to give advantage to the opposing trainers and having a 3-on-1, with the player being targeted at all times. Many players love a challenge, and I respect that, it just isn't for me. I mentioned the comparison from Switch 2 to Switch 1. In the raids and 4-player matches, those with the Switch 1 could be at a disadvantage. You see, they focused quite a bit into improving the Switch 2 internet capability, and those that have the Switch 2 will outplay and outmaneuver the other players that have the Switch 1. Imagine a PC player playing a game against another player using a smartphone. Not fun, and not fair. Features that I want you, the committed, the truly dedicated players to have in this game. From what I noticed, Rotom helps you traverse the town by lifting the player. This helps the player reach higher places and cross the street from one rooftop to another. That's nifty, but Rotom should have another ability when you rank up, which would be to enhance your stealth capability, especially useful at night. Transportation across the city should be better too, with teleportation pads in most of the major intersecting street corners. They've had many teleporting pads throughout all of the games, and I know they can do that now. I guess the alternative is using Rotom to parkour to every rooftop and get the drop on anything and everything, so to speak. I'm not big on data mining for secrets. That being said, I don't know all of the megas that we're expecting. What I want for you is a mega of every fully evolved Pokemon and/or Pokemon that won't evolve like Furfrou. All's fair in war and war. That digital zone that we first saw could have been much more than just a preview of the DLC. For instance, while similar to hiding Mega Stones within the DLC, this zone could have been a program that you access for exclusive items, not necessarily stopping at only Mega Stones. While there, you could take missions within the zone to earn more Pokédollars, or Nuggets, or catch exclusive Pokemon, something that truly proves that the city is technologically developed. Lastly, for you, I want you to have fun and enjoy the game. These are just my opinions, and I mean no harm, and I completely understand that my views could not match your views. Good luck to all of you, and may you catch them all. This is Avianite, and I'll see you next time.